What is going on, survivors? Today we're going to be talking about Eco's Viking mod. This is one of the Eco Empire series, specifically themed towards Vikings. Obviously, we're going to be talking about everything that is in here. As we can see, there's quite a lot to do. So we're going to go with some of the main structures, all that good stuff, ins and outs of just about everything that's on here in typical mod review fashion. All right, to start all of this off, you're going to be using the Viking Empire Decor crafting table to craft any of the stuff that we're going to talk about during this mod. That is auto unlocked at level 1 right here, and it's just fiber and wood to make it. And if you're looking at where to craft it at, there's going to be an Ecos mods folder. Anytime you have Ecos mods, it always has them in here, and the crafting table is in here for the Viking one. So you can craft that, place it down, and everything that we're going to talk about is made right here. So what we have are a whole lot of different structures and saddles and skins and utility and decoration stuff, but we're going to go over just about everything that's in there out here. So let me GC on my way up there. So these structures that we have on these stone foundations, this structure here, this here, this here, this here, here, and also over here. These structures are all one piece. You build them entirely and you slap them down. Now you can add ladders into there and you can add gates and things like that in here as well, but primarily this is all one big structure that you can pick back up. So be careful when you're building inside of these things, what you'll be able to do. You can pick these guys up. Now you do have to sit on here for a little while to pick it up, but you can totally pick this up by accident, and stuff that's clipped to it may or may not just fall apart. So be careful of that when you're doing it. But this right here is the Viking Lodge, which is pretty awesome. You got 2 stairs going up to a main entrance here, and you got a bottom level to play around with, and you can make doors. I have a couple of doors scattered around here, but you can make doors. Anytime you see one of these like archways or doorways, there's a gate that you can make to go in there to close it off. So this whole bottom level can be closed off fairly easily to make like a crafting area or whatever you want to do down here. And then up the stairs, you have this big area inside here as well. You can also door this guy off as well. And you have all these little individual rooms in here on either side, and then also you'll be able to make ladders and put a ladder up here to get to this little balcony area. So it's a huge area, which gives you, I mean, a couple of these stacked together and connected in different ways, and you got yourself a base. You don't really have to worry about too much else. I think it's pretty effective, I think. So this is the lodge. This is basically the biggest one. The chapel and the lodge are pretty much the biggest ones. The church, same deal. Oh, something to talk about real quick. You can change a lot of the roof styles to these buildings. So I can change this to a wood roof, which it already is, or I can change it to a snow roof. So if you're playing in the mountains or in an icy biome, you can change it up so it kind of fits. You get the cool little icicles and the snow on the roof, or you can just change it over to normal wood, whatever you guys want to do. For here, the church, kind of the same thing. You have the winding staircase up front. There's no real basement. Well, I guess you do have the basement around back here. It's just not it's not as big. It's not as wide open as the lodge is. So you still have a little bit of an area down here that you can build in. Again, you can put a door in right here to door that off. So you do have some space underneath of it. Going up and around, you have the staircase that winds up both either way. And I did actually put a door here so you can check that out. The doors open and close here. You got a little balconies on either side. Coming inside, you have these little areas here, little nooks here. You have this area, this cool ceiling, which ends up being a floor once you go up these steps. And these steps are up either side, by the way. You have either side staircase that comes up, and then you have the stained glass that's actually below you, which I think is pretty freaking amazing. Anyway, pretty awesome concept. I love these buildings, and there's plenty of room in here. I like the high ceilings too, so you can place some bigger stuff in here if you want to. Not sure if you'd be able to fit like something like crazy like an indie forge, but honestly it probably really wouldn't fit too well with the style in here. But just about anything you can think of, storage cabins, stuff like that, you're not going to have it like poking out of the roof at all. There's plenty of space up in here. I like the high ceiling idea. Obviously very Viking themed and looks pretty amazing. Same deal, this is one big structure, and you should be able to, yep, you can change this guy over to a snow roof too if you want to change that over to a snow roof and change it back to the wood roof. All right, so that is the church. So we got a couple of other buildings that are a little bit smaller, but let's go over them here. We have the Thane home here, which is, yeah, Thane home, and it's kind of a 2-story build. This actually bear thing doesn't come with it. That's just a piece of decoration that I needed a wall to put in. That's a mounted bear that you can make to put on the wall. Going over this way, you have these 2 rooms. I'm not sure if this is like a style thing, this little barrier here, but it lets you walk over between them just fine. It doesn't clip or anything like that. I'm assuming maybe it's like that so the door fits right and kind of just step up into the door and over. I wasn't entirely certain, but at the same time, I don't know if it's like an architectural thing, like maybe it's supposed to be styled that way. In either case, at this bottom level, you have 2 points for ladders that you can make on the crafting table to go up into the, ooh, don't go up that far, to go upstairs, and then the rooms connect upstairs as well. And you can, this doesn't come with a door, I put the door on here, but you can come out here to this cool balcony and actually have a ladder going down this way too. So if you just wanted a ladder straight up here, you could do that as well. Pretty big area just for like a normal size home. I mean, like, you can fit a lot of crafting stuff in here and a lot of storage. Fairly easy. So that is the Thane home. So the difference between a lot of these other buildings that we're going to talk about now and the 2 main ones is that you actually have like a grass roof that you can still change to a snow roof if you want. It has like just snowy kind of plants on it essentially, and then you can change it back to the grass roof. So you don't get the wood or the actual snow, you just kind of get grass and then like a snow biome grassy look as well. Over here we have the, I think it's the farmer home. Yeah, the farmer. All right, same deal. You can change the roof from the grass to the snow. This one is a little bit trickier because it took me a second to kind of understand this. So there's no door straight into the bottom level. You have to make a ladder here, pop up the ladder, and then you have this area here, and then you can build another ladder for a little basement area here, which I like. It's a different concept. I kind of like it actually. Anyhow, same kind of, basically half of what the Thane home is. Is sort of what you're looking at, and then like it's kind of like if we just took this section off, is kind of what we're looking at over here. Anywho, back over here, this is the blacksmith area. So I'm gonna open this gate. You can put this gate on either side. I kind of like how this slowly creaks open. And you can put plenty of crafting stuff in here. It's all kind of stabled out. This actually also works pretty well for dino storage. One of our community members figured that out. You can actually park like upwards to like a trike inside of here comfortably and ride it in and out. So if you're looking for more like stables or something like that, you could use it for like a stable area, or you could use it for a blacksmithy area, put all your crafting stuff in here. Whatever you want to do, but then you have this little awning out on the side as well. Running over here, we have just a normal shed. This is just a 1-story build inside of here, and then you just have that little awning out the side as well. You can freestand put these things on the ground, just like I showed you. Foundations tend to look, it tends to function better when they're on the foundations, because that way the whole thing is level. These things will kind of, you're kind of at the mercy of unlevel ground when you just place them flat on the ground. You can do that, but if you're on any, the ground isn't like perfectly flat, it may not look right. It may bother you a little bit. So I would suggest dropping foundations and then dropping these guys on top of foundations. And again, all of these buildings you can pick up and put down, and they are huge and they look absolutely amazing. Hopefully an eco mod, we're really expecting anything less. These things are always fun to look at, fun to play with. Over here, we actually have a large gate and a fence. So this is just the gate and the gate frame. Not quite behemoth size, or maybe it is behemoth size. Actually, it might actually be behemoth size, but anyhow, huge gate. Works pretty well. The fence is a free floating fence. You guys, there's no snap points to these guys. At least I didn't see one. You just drop them down and that's pretty much it. They're a little bit wider than a normal foundation, but yeah, you can kind of overlap them and shape them exactly however you want, which I kind of like better actually. Like the nice part about these fences is that they're square at the bottom, so if you wanted to line them up with foundations or whatever, it wouldn't be that hard to do. And it's also not hard to have these go in a pretty straight line because of how square they are at the bottom to line them up. So you can make it a very square fence if you want to, or you can just kind of free roam, do whatever you want with it. So I like the option, and then I like the base being square so that you can easily line it up for other stuff too. But most of the building options are kind of like that with Eco. There's definitely some foresight put into this. Let's go back over towards this side. Obviously we have a awesome boat, which you can sit on multiple seats. So we can sit in, if you're driving, you're up on, like up underneath. You see me right here. Let me go out to maybe K mode. There we go. Not really. All right, so if you see me, I'm in the back. That's where I'm driving from. That's where the driver would be, but you can pop out and access the passenger seats, and you have all the different benches, but then you also have the throne up top that you could be sitting in as well. So I'm up on top of the throne now, or you can sit down here in any one of these benches as well. The chests are just aesthetic stuff. You can't actually store anything in here. It's just basically kind of like a normal raft, basically. But it looks so much better, right? This looks killer. Absolutely amazing. Anyway, flying out here. So let's go over the decor stuff first. I guess we can kind of start this way and rope our way all the way around. So this is just a regular storage shed. It's 250 slots. Pretty big storage. Storage cabinet just to kind of model after the same style, obviously. This little pig feast, this thing is pretty cool. You can put food in here if you want to, but it just aesthetically looks really cool. There's a boar sitting out here. You have a food storage section, which will keep items from spoiling for a little bit of time. Not like refrigerator good, but also not terribly either. So definitely if you're looking for a short, an easy way to store stuff. And then also aesthetically, it just looks great too. The little wine rack thing going on. You have two different beds. You have the single bed, and then you have like the king bed here, which is more like, yeah, king size, obviously. But you get the cool pelts and all that stuff sitting on the beds as well. Over here we have the long table and then a short table and a bench. So I have a couple of things that you can build. You can make these little pictures, and I think that's a mug here, and then the little plate here. You can make all that stuff and just throw it on the tables if you want, but that's the long table, short table, and the benches as well. I like that the benches are longer, and the bench lines up perfectly with this long table too. So if you're trying to do like a seating area for it, it'll work great for that. Coming over, you have a throne that you can sit on, which is pretty awesome. Everybody needs a throne, I think. Coming over, we have the regular chairs, so you can do the chairs for the tables if you didn't want to do the bench, either way. Or you can do like bench on one side, chair on the other. You can change it up however you want. The Viking grinding mill, so what you can do is actually grind certain things down in order to make other things. The reason behind this is you can make some special meals and stuff that are kind of Viking themed, and that actually works with the mixing table. So the mixing table, you'll be able to make a lot of the stuff out of normal things. Like if you notice any plant species to make purple cabbage and all this, so you can make all this other cool stuff in here. And then you're going to use the grinding mill to turn some of those resources into other resources to make things work for you. So these three honestly come hand in hand. You're probably going to make all three of these in like a kitchen-esque sort of area. The mud oven is exactly that. It's an oven. That's where you're going to cook all of the stuff at. You're going to be able to make all of that stuff. So you'll be able to make wine, make food, and all the other cool stuff. All of it happens right here. So typically with Eco's Empires, you end up with its own like separate little food section, which is perfect. It fits right into that RP sort of realm, I think. But these three structures, basically what's in frame right now, are going to work very much in tandem. So it would help to have these things close to each other, because you'll find yourself bouncing around between them pretty often. So don't make them a mile and a half away from each other, or you're going to drive yourself a little bit crazy. But they do look fantastic. They always do. I want a forge that looks like this. Anyhow, that's the majority of it. You also have these two torches. You have a tall torch and like the smaller torch here. These do not require fuel, and they were always on. So you can just place them down and you always have light, and you never have to worry about it again, which is always a plus. No more running back and forth with wood and thatch and spark powder and all that good stuff. That is essentially everything in here, with the exception of these cool, awesome saddles that Eco is amazingly known for. So we got a cool Viking saddle for the bear, which is all pelted up. These do not, they're pretty much the same stats of the normal bear saddle and the horse saddle that we're going to talk about. The stats are the same as the regular saddles, but aesthetically they just look a lot better. So we have a couple different styles. You have the Viking draft horse here. Also note, you can see that having the saddle on, you still get the mortar and pestle options with the Equus as well, so you're not losing anything out of that. Aesthetically, you're just gaining stuff. You have a couple different styles. You even have this like Icelandic, I think these are Icelandic, is that what these are called? Yeah, so there's a cream color one that changes the horse to this cream color regardless of what it is, but then there's a black one that changes it to like a darker color regardless of what type of horse it is. And this one actually has some sweet like Nordic scrolling in the back as well. It looks pretty cool. I don't know if it's here or if it's faint. Oh, you know what it is? It's just really faint because of the color. Oh, I can see it better on the side. Yeah, it's definitely still here. So you get those cool little textures as well. So you get all the different horse saddles and a bear saddle. Now, the cool thing about these saddles is if, let's say you love that saddle, but then you find yourself like an Ascendant Equus saddle, and you're like, man, I really want the better armor. Do not fear. In here, inside the saddles, you can make the Ascendant versions of these saddles as well. You still need the regular saddle, but then you'll need like Alpha Raptor claws in this instance to make the Ascendant saddle, which is going to give you better armor out of it too. So you can make the Ascendant armors, and they do have different stat lines to them. Like the Vikings, the Icelandic horse saddle is going to have a higher armor than, let's say, the black one does for whatever reason. Not entirely certain what's going on there, but I mean, this probably falls into what your crafting skill is on top of that too. So some of these are better than others, obviously. And the Viking flag too. We got a cool Viking flag with like the bear claw on it to match the flag that is on the Viking ship as well. As you can see, it's definitely kind of a Viking bear sort of kind of theme, because you have the outprint on the throne as well as some of the doors and then some of the other crafting stuff. But as far as ability saddle-y stuff, that's pretty much it. There is some equipment that we can mess with. We get this sweet mace that is actually a skin of your sword, so you can make just a regular sword and put this mace skin on it instead. We also have a hammer that you can craft, so you can beat stuff with a hammer. That's always a good time. And throwing axes, which might be one of my favorite things on this thing, actually. So holding in left click and whoop, we can throw throwing axes, and don't worry, they work like boomerangs and they come back. This is pretty awesome. I love this concept. Throwing axes are where it's at. There's a shield option as well. Let me go back. Why am I not holding this? There we go. Go back, and you have the shield option with the bear on the front as well. So awesome shield, cool. And there's a couple of helmet options too. We have like a kind of like a crown sort of look here, like a villager sort of style helmet with like the feathers and stuff tied to it. And then you also have this warrior helmet, which I think is probably my favorite one. This looks pretty awesome too. So you have all the different helmet options as well. All in all, I mean, these Empire mods that Eco's come out with have been just freaking flawless. Like, just amazing, honestly. Like, they all have their own little niche. I would love to see, and I'm sure they're probably out there, like a really good like PvE server where they incorporated a lot of these different Empire mods and then like had each separate like kingdoms rolling around. I think that'd be just absolutely amazing. But as you can see, I mean, this is pretty amazing, and you don't need a whole lot. Like, right, a very small tribe of people could put together a couple of these buildings near each other, maybe surround it with some of these gates and stuff, some of the gates and the walls, and make yourself a pretty good town fairly quickly too. Because you figure, I mean, this whole building just boop, you just drop this whole building, make some doors, and you're safe. You know, this is really, really cool stuff. And the option to just pick it up in case you need to move is also pretty amazing. I would say if there was one thing that I wish was on here is that the doors auto open and close, like what you can get out of like S Plus or SS, like the option to auto open and auto close doors. But honestly, I mean, everything else is beautiful. The mod's beautiful. It runs smooth. We actually running it on our community server right here, right now. And it works wonderfully. No complaints so far at all. And looks awesome. But like I said, that's what we get from Eco mods. We get awesome. That's how we roll. Anyway, guys, that is the Eco's Empires of Vikings mod. If you like the mod, hit that like button, hit that sub button. I will see you guys on the next one. We will have a link to Steam Workshop page in the description of the video, so you guys can check that out and maybe look for some other questions answers to some other questions that you may have. And again, guys, take care. I'll see you on the next one.